So communication is what I'm looking at first and the skills of a coach. So the communication is important as it helps participants understand what is expected of them in the session. If you can communicate effectively with your participants, you can help minimize the risk of injury as you can make sure they have clear understanding of what to do and how to do it safely. Positive communication can help build coaches and participants' relationships, allowing the participant to work successfully with the coach and progress. As if the coach and participant communicate well, they can identify areas of the performance that need improvement, helping them to progress. If the coach cannot communicate to the participant well, they may not progress as they will be unable to discuss with their coach how to improve and what aspects of their performance require improvement. It is also important that coaches have good communication skills so they can communicate well with other coaches to ensure facilities are not double booked and so that coaches do not contradict each other by giving separate advice that may not be related. It is important that as a coach you discuss with your team members what you've instructed the participant to do so you're all aware of what's going on within the club. This also helps the participants stay aware of standards across the club. However, there will not be clear, consistent standards if coaches do not communicate with each other well. If coaches do not communicate with each other successfully, the participants may not progress as they will not get experience, consistent feedback, and this will stop them being able to focus on one specific area to progress. A scenario where it would be important to communicate well and clearly as a coach is when you're explaining a new skill in gymnastics. If you are teaching a somersault to a participant for the first time, it's important to communicate to the participant all the coaching points and important safety aspects. When working with different people, you may need to use different forms of communication, especially if the participant has additional need or disability. An example of this is you may communicate something to one participant by verbally telling them. However, one child may need the visual aid to help them understand what's being communicated to them. Next is organisation. Organisation is important as it helps the participant stay safe and as part of an organisation, if keeping all information about your participants up to date and easily accessible. Part of being organised is also having clear training timetables so you always have access to the facilities you need and so that participants always know where their sessions are and what time. This will ensure that they turn up, as if they are unaware of where the sessions are meant to be or what time training is, they may not be able to attend the sessions, especially if it's last minute decision, as they may have other plans. Being organised can benefit the performer as it will help to ensure they have access to as many training sessions as possible, and the coach will have a clear planned activities and the correct equipment available, meaning the participants will do the correct suitable activities that will aid their development as an athlete. If the coach was unorganised, the participant may not attend the sessions as they will not be aware of when they're supposed to be training. Also, if the coach is unorganised, they may not have the correct equipment to produce a suitable and beneficial session to the participant. An example of this is a football coach for the third team of a club will need to ensure they are organised and pre-book the facilities needed for their training session in advance to ensure that the other teams, except for example a women's team or the first team or second team, are not using the facilities. This is a clear example of organisation. Motivation. Being a motivational coach can have a positive effect on a participant's performance, as if a coach motivates participants, they will want to do well and they will feel they have the support and confidence to be successful. Also, if a coach is motivated, they will coach to a higher quality and they'll be interested and will want their participants to do well and reach their full potential. If a coach is not motivated, the participants will not make progress as they'll not be engaged, and if the coach is not motivated to coach to a high standards, the participants will not receive the training required to progress and be successful. An example of this is if a coach does not watch a skill and gives a participant no feedback and the participant notices, the participant will feel as if they're not being valued and there's no point in putting effort in as the coach is not interested in what they're doing. Next is knowledge of a coach. So I'm going to be looking at first correct technical and tactical performance models. An example of a good tactical knowledge is practicing set play in training. This will give a team an advantage in a competitive situation. This could be done in netball by a netball coach by practicing 3 players versus a varied numbers of players in training, as it will help the participants' performance, as they'll be prepared for certain scenarios that may occur in matches, allowing them to be successful, as they'll be aware what to do in these situations. If a coach does not have a good knowledge of tactics, the participant won't be prepared for the competitive situation, and although they may be technically accurate, they will not be able to work in a team and usefully score points, as they will not have the tactical ability. An example of good technical knowledge is being able to correct skills and ensure they're performed to a high standard. An example of having good technical knowledge is being able to, in gymnastics, correct a back walkover. If the participant is not performing it with a strong back and straight legs, the coach must inform them of this and improve that technique. Technique is important in all sports, but especially individual sports, where you cannot use as much tactics to improve performance and gain an advantage. A coach being able to teach good techniques positively affects performance, as it ensures the skills are executed correctly, allowing participants to progress onto more complex skills. It also allows the participant to stay safe, as poor technique can lead to injury. If a coach cannot teach good technique or distinguish between poor and correct technique, the athlete will not be able to progress, as they will not be able to perform skills correctly. They may also become injured due to performing the skill poorly. Also, in sports like gymnastics and trampolining, if a skill is executed with poor technique, the athlete will score less at a competition, meaning it's extra important to ensure that technique is a main focus. Also, in sports such as rugby, it's important to have good technique, as if an athlete has poor tackling technique, it could be very dangerous and result in an injury or an illegal tackle, which could result in a penalty. Is planning. A coach can plan for a change by having a backup facility in the session plan, or an emergency session plan for when there is bad weather or the facility is not available, or if the session previously planned cannot occur. Coaches planning for change can positively impact athletes' performance, as it ensures they will always have training sessions even if circumstances change. This will ensure that progress is made, as they will not be missing as much training as if a coach does not plan for change. If a coach does not plan for change, it can have a negative effect on the athlete's performance, as missing training may lead to regression. An example of planning for change as a coach is having a backup session plan for an indoor facility in case the outdoor facility is unavailable. This is planning, as you have a backup option in case your primary choice is unavailable. It is important as it shows you are dedicated, organised, and to your participant, and it also shows that you're prepared for change. Next is adaptations. Coaches adapting sports for participants can help benefit participants' supporting performance, as it can help the participant progress quickly, as adapting skills can allow the skill to be taught in a way which benefits the participant and allows them to learn most effectively. It can also help them progress on to harder skills by adapting skills they already have and making them more challenging. An example of this is if a gymnast can do a round off flick and they can do a round off back somersault, the next progression is round off flick somersault, and so the coach can then work on that and adapt it and do the tap back preparations with a flick in front, which can help the learner develop that skill quickly. If a coach cannot successfully adapt skills, the participant may struggle to learn skills, and they may not be able to simplify this, as the coach may not be able to simplify skills so the participant can learn it gradually in stages. They also may plateau due to not being challenged enough or pushed, as the coach will not be unable to create challenging adaptations. Adaptability. An example of adaptability is if you have a football session planned and you're meant to have 20 participants but only 12 show up, you can adapt your session by playing a six-a-side game instead of a normal football game. Adaptability helps participants' performance, as it ensures they will always receive training, allowing them to progress quicker and carry on learning and improving skills. Adaptability helps athletes progress, as it can allow us to change sessions to support the needs of each individual participant. Without this, the quality of the participants will struggle to improve, as you will coach with one size fits all approach, and that just doesn't work in the real life situation. Adaptability also helps make sessions inclusive and enjoyable for all. because it gives you the ability to alter sessions for participants who may have additional needs or may not learn through conventional methods. If a participant feels included and they are being supported, they are also more inclined to try hard and put in high levels of effort. This means they will get more out of your sessions and experience more progress. Next is empathy. Empathy is showing an understanding rather than feeling sorry for a participant. An example of showing empathy is if someone is struggling with a session because they're upset and they're struggling with a skill, rather than shout at them, you should speak to them in a calm tone, and you should show that you understand that they are struggling and try to support them with reteaching the skill or maybe physically supporting the skill. Empathy can help support a participant and it can increase their confidence as it stops them feeling alone. And by increasing the participants' confidence, they'll be more inclined to try new skills. This will allow them to progress and develop as performers. Being empathetic towards a participant can also help to improve their mindset and outlook on the session and their performance overall. If a coach is not empathetic, they may shout at the participants and if they're not performing well, as this usually can decrease confidence and increase anxiety levels. This will have a negative effect on performance because the athlete will be under more pressure and they'll have less self-belief. Next is enthusiasm. An example of being enthusiastic is when working with young children in recreational gymnastics. If someone has just learnt a new skill, although the skill may seem basic and easy towards you, it is important to be enthusiastic and praise the child for their achievement, as this can help to build confidence, and with more confident participants are more likely to progress and achieve new things. So an example of me being enthusiastic is if someone got a skill and I just ignored them, that wouldn't be showing enthusiasm. Whereas if they just achieved a goal, I was like, well done, that's really good, good try, that was impressive, like, and showing a lot of praise towards them, that would be being enthusiastic towards them. Enthusiasm also helps to motivate participants as it keeps your morale high and keeps a positive mood and mindset. This can help participants with progress as they will feel valued and the sessions will be enjoyable. Without enthusiasm, participants may become bored or disheartened as they may feel unvalued and it may appear you're not interested in the session, causing less effort to be inputted from your participants. As I said earlier, an example of not being enthusiastic is keeping a monotonal voice and not praising the child for achievement and instead you could be stating what they have done wrong. Next is qualifications. If a participant is coached by an unqualified coach, they're more likely to learn poor technique and they will not make the desired progress as the coach will not have the understanding of the skills required. They may also lack good communication skills and be unaware of different learning and coaching styles due to not having a full understanding of how to support and coach correctly. If a coach is unqualified, the participant is more likely to become injured. This, of course, would minimise the progress made as the participant would not be able to train due to injury. Qualified coaches will be able to coach skills with better technique, helping the athlete to progress as the coach will have the knowledge and experience to teach the skills that will challenge the participant, as they will be more aware of how to adapt skills. This will allow the athlete to progress and improve much quicker than with an unqualified coach. Qualifications will also allow the coach to develop a further understanding of the sport and what requirements are needed to perform certain skills, allowing them to make a better judgment whether the athlete should attempt a skill. This will ensure safety of athletes. It's extremely important in sports like gymnastics where skills can be dangerous. Equal opportunities. An example of equal opportunity is providing a wheelchair rugby game at a rugby club or providing drop ball sessions at a football club. These two activities would help to include wheelchair users and visually impaired athletes. Equal opportunity is important as it allows athletes to progress and thrive, especially if they're under one of the 6 protected characteristics. If everyone has equal opportunities to do well, athletes will stay motivated as they will feel valued and part of the team. The more practice and opportunities you get, the more that you are likely to succeed. Therefore, if there are not equal opportunities, certain athletes will not progress due to lack of extra training or game time. This will cause the participants to become disheartened as they will feel they are undervalued and not appreciated. It may cause frustration if they have the ability to do well but still do not receive opportunities, as it appears unfair. If you do not give them equal opportunities, people will not attend your sessions as they will see no point if they're not going to get game time or they won't receive opportunities in training.